Abusua ya mama kwa abasonko so the Ghana Politics Avenue so abusua mama yembo nra yensem. And no first time I share ya no subscribe no share no hit notification bell no so am na send me ba political headline so a na ye de bi aba abedomo. Abusua yenko yensem eye chema Wontumi ekopie court ne de efa sika bia okoji no ezema odina ese onkoji sika bia ewo ezem bank no. Abusua ene chema Wontumi akopie court a one attorney general also na attorney general ko tenase no matter what plea bargain ska okwaje afi de wa surrender o ti ska no wakwaje wa diska no nti na attorney general de omo tenase no de omo negotiate ska no abusua mum yembo wrom yenkotie ensema ne lawyer Andy Apiakubi de tuja afa chema Wontumi court a okopie no ye ba de aka ebeto amuso
Advised the High Court of the request in a notification dated June 11th, 2026. The Prosecution's Division of the AG's office informed the court that the first accused person, Chairman Wontumi, through his lawyer, Andy Apiakubi, had expressed interest in pursuing a plea negotiation process in relation to the charges against him. Lead counsel for Chairman Wontumi, Andy Apiakubi, has joined us here for a quick conversation on the back of this. Counsel, good afternoon to you. Now, tell us why your client is now backing down as far as this trial is concerned and asking for a plea deal.
Good morning to you. Good afternoon. The case is served before the court. And you are preferring wrong because there is no charge as having been a loan fraudulently. No, that is not the point. The charges are different from what you're saying. Never we have applied for plea bargaining, which the right at the laws and
Counsel.
Yes.
Counsel, if you could speak up a little bit for me so I can get the import of what you're telling us.
What I'm saying is that I'm seeking to correct the charge as you preferred. It's not the same as the charges in the court that my client obtained a loan fraudulently. That is not the charge. So let's have that correction.
Right.
Number two, we have applied for plea bargaining, which is available to suspects or accused persons under the laws. And we have tabled a proposal before the Attorney General, awaiting the Attorney General to convene a meeting of the parties to discuss the details of the application. So for now, what I can speak to is the fact that, yes, my client has filed an application for plea bargaining.
I see. So let's, do first things first, right? You say the charges, as we have announced in this broadcast, are not correct as they are at the Accra High Court. What really are the charges in this particular case?
To be honest with you, the charges whether on alleged submission of full documents, and this is captured under KG, not fraudulent transactions.
I see. Now let's talk about that plea deal. Is this indicative that your client didn't think that he could prove his innocence in this matter?
We don't have to go into the details of the charges, because whether or not the charges can be sustained is another matter which we haven't gotten there. So for now, we can only speak to the charges and the attempts being made by the parties to settle the matter. So let us not proceed because it is not within our right to even investigate or interrogate the charges even at this point.
Well, other than that, what are the terms that you're taking to the state on this plea deal?
No. I don't think that is fair on the Attorney General for me to be discussing the terms of the plea bargaining application even before we sit down. What I can tell you is that we have just made the application, but I am not in a position to discuss the terms of it because that would be most unfair and most prejudicial.
Fair enough. Are you hopeful that the state would accept this plea deal?
Oh, I cannot say that. I cannot say yes or no. It is an application before the Attorney General. Let first give the Attorney General the necessary respect of reviewing the application and convening the meetings so that both of us can put together our arguments and come to a conclusion. But for now, we cannot preempt what will happen between the parties. So please give me this opportunity and let me not prejudice the Attorney General.
Very well then. Very well then, Counsel. We'll connect again on this subject matter after your meeting with the AG.
You properly on the charges. The charges are defrauding by false pretenses contrary to Section 131 and uttering of a false document contrary to Section 169. These are the charges.
Very well, Counsel. Let's connect again after your meeting with the Attorney General. Is that happening today?
I don't know, because it is the Attorney General who will invite us into the meeting. So as and when we get this invitation, we will respond appropriately. And then when it is done, then we can discuss the terms after the Attorney General has given us opportunity to create a case.
Very well. Now, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Andy Apiakubi is lead counsel for Chairman Wontumi, who's now seeking a plea deal in one of his cases at the Accra High Court to do with the Exim Bank. Now, away from that, a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Patrick Yabuama, has cautioned against potential misrepresentation and propaganda by government in the handling of xenophobic cases or attacks against foreign nationals in South Africa. He says the sensitive nature of this issue requires a measured and factual approach that reflects principles of diplomacy, adding that the foreign minister must urgently appear before Parliament to address pressing concerns. Patrick Yabuama notes discrepancies in accounts by local and South African officials, expressing worry about the investment challenges any mishap could create.
We know that there are over 25 to 30,000 Ghanaian nationals in South Africa. It will be very good for the foreign minister to come and brief the House, because we don't want any propaganda, misrepresentation, or any form of unconventional diplomatic means to be adopted. Ghana and South Africa have enjoyed enormous diplomatic relationship. Look at the investment South Africans have in Ghana. MTN, Stanbic Bank, a lot of investment that the mining companies, Goldfields and other companies, and what they've brought into this country in terms of jobs, in terms of revenue. So our push is for the foreign minister to come and brief the House so that we can also, as a House and as a Parliament, assist in ensuring that diplomatic relationship between South Africa is not ruined, so that any issue that the government or the foreign minister has with some of the issues that he thinks must be addressed, the House can also be apprised of it so that we will address it. If you listen to some of the press conferences by the South African foreign minister, he is not accepting what our foreign minister is putting out there. So it means there's some issue that has to be addressed if the foreign minister appears and we ask him questions.
The Okankwe Central MP also urged the Speaker and leadership of the House to summon the Foreign Minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, without delay.
If you registered over 1,500 Ghanaians and you've been able to evacuate only 300, what is happening to the rest of our nationals? What is going to happen with those who did not register? Because we know that a lot of Ghanaians occupy top positions in South Africa in many institutions or companies, the municipalities, in the defense sector, and in other financial institutions there. We don't want this situation to derail our relationship with South Africa. So it's very important that the foreign minister appears before the House I've been calling on him to appear before the House so that we can interrogate matters dispassionately. Diplomacy has nothing to do with propaganda and mischief. He may have a case, the South Africans may have a case with immigration or migration issues. We may also have a point as a House to assist in addressing the matter. So I think our call must be heeded by the leadership of Parliament, by the Speakership, to invite the Foreign Minister. It's getting to over a month now. We haven't heard from the Foreign Minister on this particular issue, very important issue, and we think it's about time that we put it out there to put on some pressure or pile on some pressure to get him to appear before the House.
Now, a growing wave of anti-migrant violence in South Africa is rapidly escalating into a regional diplomatic crisis, forcing governments across Africa to evacuate their citizens amid reports of killings, assaults, displacement, looting, and vigilante attacks. Nearly 1,000 Ghanaians have already been airlifted home, while more than 1,000 Nigerians have registered for voluntary repatriation. Stanley Nibleu has been monitoring developments and has filed this report.
What began as an anti-immigration demonstrations in several South African cities and towns has evolved into one of the most serious outbreaks of xenophobic violence in recent years. Foreign nationals across parts of South Africa say they are living in fear as tensions fuel attacks, intimidation, forced displacement, and growing uncertainty. According to South Africa's 2022 census, the country hosts more than 2.4 million international migrants, representing nearly 4% of the population. The largest migrant communities originate from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Lesotho, and Malawi. While Ghana does not appear among the top 10 countries of origin in the latest census breakdown, thousands of Ghanaians are known to live and work in South Africa. The latest violence has drawn regional concern following reports of attacks targeting foreign nationals in several communities. The deadliest incident so far has been reported in Mosel Bay. Mozambique says 5 of 8 citizens were killed during anti-immigrant violence there. South African police have publicly confirmed the discovery of 2 Mozambican men with assault-related injuries and have separately reported the death of a South African teenager during the unrest. On Wednesday, June 10, 2026, more than 10 unidentified gunmen stormed an informal settlement near Johannesburg, fatally shooting 12 people and wounding 9 others. The nationalities of these victims have not been confirmed. The violence has triggered panic among migrant communities. Reports from the Western Cape describe Mozambican and Malawian migrants hiding in mountains, shelters, and community halls after receiving threats. Human rights organizations say the attacks are extending beyond isolated incidents. Ghana has emerged as one of the countries most directly affected by the crisis. The government launched a 3-phase evacuation operation that has now brought home 979 Ghanaian nationals. The evacuations followed widespread concern after videos circulated online show a Ghanaian national being confronted in the KwaZulu-Natal province and ordered to leave South Africa. The current wave of unrest has also revived painful memories of previous outbreaks of xenophobic violence in South Africa. In 2008, 62 people were killed during nationwide attacks. Subsequent waves of violence were recorded in 2015, 2019, and again between 2021 and 2022. South African authorities now face mounting pressure to restore order and reassure neighboring countries.
As communities and as a society, we must not be tempted to join those who want us to turn against people who were not born in South Africa and who are in our midst.
For now, the humanitarian, diplomatic, and security consequences continue to spread beyond South Africa's borders, with some countries evacuating their citizens and migrants remaining in hiding.
Now, Minister for the Interior, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, says security agencies have drawn important lessons from the disturbances that characterized the Ablekuma North by-election and are taking steps to prevent a recurrence. Addressing Parliament, the minister indicated that the Ghana Police Service has reviewed its operational approach to election security, a move he says contributed to the relatively peaceful conduct of subsequent by-elections in Akwetia. The revised measures will serve as the blueprint for police and future elections across the country.
The post-incident review conducted by the Ghana Police Service and other security agencies following the Ablekuma North constituency by-election violence identified several institutional and operational lapses that affected the overall management of the event. In response to these findings, the Ghana Police Service took deliberate and structured steps to address the weaknesses. Among the measures implemented were the establishment of an election security intelligence cell to enhance early warning system and risk analysis, strengthening of interagency collaboration through unified command structure, and improvement in the resource deployment and rapid response capability. The service also intensified training for officers in crowd control and de-escalation, instituted stricter accountability and reporting mechanism, and enhanced its public information and stakeholder engagement strategy to build transparency and trust. Mr. Speaker, the lessons learned from the Ablekuma North experience were given due attention and effectively integrated into subsequent security election operations. This strategic adjustment translated into a successful, peaceful, and incident-free conduct of the Akwetia by-election. The Ghana Police Service received commendation from the Electoral Commission, the political parties, election observers, and the general public for its professionalism, proactive intelligence gathering, timely deployment, and impartial enforcement during the Akwetia polls. The performance of the service at Akwetia stands as a clear evidence of institutional learning, improved operational coordination, and enhanced public confidence in the capability of the Ghana Police Service to provide effective election security across the country. Thank you.
Now, he further disclosed that the police will strengthen coordination with the military and other security agencies to enhance election security operations and ensure a more effective response to potential threats.
One of the major things was like the lack of coordination among the security agencies. It's like they go to the election, everybody has his own plan, and they just go in, and therefore sometimes when there's a problem, you don't even know who is to be allowed to be in charge. So this is one major thing that was dealt with, was identified and was dealt with effectively. Two, de-escalation. When you are at a police station and something happened, and then there's some kind of chaos, what do you do? Because there was no coordination, they were all handling it differently. And sometimes they stand aloof thinking that maybe the national security should handle it, or the prisons should handle it, or immigration should be the one, or the police is the one to handle it. This was identified, and they also worked to make sure that when there's the need to de-escalate, they know who to talk to. Three, they also identify intelligence, on the ground before, during, and after, as also another lapse. And this was also enhanced to the extent that you realize that in the case of Akwetia, when they went to Akwetia and the other elections, they had to even go ahead days before to mount switch cameras so they can see what is happening, who is going in and who is going out. All these things were identified, and Mr. Speaker, they were dealt with, and now it has become part of their modus operandi, how they will be operating into the future. So I want to assure my colleague that a lot of lessons were learned from the Ablekuma North by-election, and a lot has been done since to ensure that should we have any by-election, some of the things that happen should not happen.
Now, away from Parliament, the committee set up to look into the Akosombo Dam fire outbreak has attributed the inferno to installation failure, making the nation making the nation lose power of about 1,000 megawatts. The committee was given 4 weeks to come up with a report detailing lapses and possible recommendations. Yes, the Energy Minister, John Jinapo, who received the report and assured that recommendations will be put to good use.
So this should be a wake-up call for us so that we can strengthen the system, make it more responsive, improve our emergency response system, maintenance culture, and more importantly, invest in the grid in order to have a resilient energy sector. So I will communicate to His Excellency the President, and I'm sure that he will formally thank you. Already I know that the control center, a temporary one, is being built using containerized structures because we can't continue to evacuate power the way we're doing it. This is a temporary measure. Beyond the containerized one, we've given us an indication that we need to build a state-of-the-art, ultra-modern control room that is fit for purpose. I mean, to continue to use that building since 1964, a lot has changed, and we need to also change to adapt to emerging situations. Big sector calls for a lot of investment, and to invest, you need to spend money or capital judiciously and efficiently. And that's why we are doing whatever we can to improve the sector. I believe that the energy sector should be.
When I am Sama and the Apia could be a chama, Wontumi lawyer and edit to be a fast say, or Attorney General say, Montana say, no negotiate scanner, a chama Wontumi, a fan is arsenal. A bush unsubscribe and not subscribe, no I share, no I told you question by no so am I, and send me back political airline so I need to be a barbadon. A bush I don't want to say.